Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another RSG Lunch stream. Welcome, one and all children of all ages. This is the Reality Skewed Gamers coming at you for another lunch hour. We say it's a lunch hour. It always is more like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But you know what? It's fine because we love hanging out with you guys and having fun. And that's what we do here on the lunch hour. We'll do a roster review. We'll answer your questions. We'll let hijinks ensue. It's just kind of our thing and what we do. And if you're new to the lunch stream and you're wondering, what is this? This is where we just hang out with you guys for the next hour and a half. Bring you something fun to listen to while whether you're listening to us live or later on. If you download us like, from iTunes or wherever, however you listen to us on YouTube, it's fine. This is just something to bring, a little bit of excitement and fun to your indulgence of your work day, and that's what it's all about. Real quick, before I introduce everybody, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the video if you haven't already. It does help get our content out there to the YouTube world, and if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then you know when we stream live, we do a lot of live streaming, and that's the best way to know about it. If you haven't checked out our Patreon page, you can. We have that set up for you guys, and then, of course, we always have Super Chat set up in there while we're streaming live. If you want to donate or anything like that and say something funny, you can. Now, if you have questions, go ahead and put those in there. Make sure you put question in front of your statement. It just helps us scoop up the question, identify it as a question with the software we use. Because if you could write a question out, but most people forget proper punctuation, and it makes it hard sometimes. It looks like a statement, and so we just decided that if you just put question in front of it, it just makes life a little bit easier. That being said, let's introduce all the knuckleheads that'll be here today. First of all, my partner in crime, the one and only, the troll extraordinaire, Dr. Finn Medicine Woman is here.
My baloney has a first
We're skipping
name.
Finn because he's no, stop it, Finn. No, why would no? All right,
that's science.
Well, it is true. That is how you spell baloney. And then also joining us, of course, is the one that will be scooping up all your questions and monitoring chat. We have Mr. Gingivitis himself, Stanley Red.
Hey, looking forward to this Sunday. It's not only is it my birthday, I'm going to be streaming Hitman 2. There's another elusive target, and also a Christmas-themed mission where I get to dress up as Santa.
That's right. You're going to spread holiday cheer by shooting people in the face. Or drowning them in 3 inches of water, whichever.
Ho, 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 mother.
Also joining us, of course, is the one and only Grim the Mechanic.
How's it going?
Hey. We also have from across the pond, holding down the EU, from jolly old England, the one and only Michael Hunt.
Good evening. How are we all doing?
Good evening to you, sir. And last but not least, part of the crew. We couldn't get rid of him if we wanted to. Trust me, we've tried. We really, really have tried. But I'm talking about the brand Gandalf, the beardless one, the government Wi-Fi stealer, the French tickler, the chicken chaser, the big deal himself, the sensation rock of the nation, Grande Pappy Patron.
What's up? It's time for the lunch stream.
And now,
how you doing, Ranger?
I'm doing good, and I stand before you a broken and bitter man. I've lost all will to live because...
Oh, you must be broken and bitter because they're going to nerf Finn, right? That's what it is.
I really I just don't care. It's like, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I'm just kind of like, I think what's upsetting about that is, and this is it, they didn't see, it happens. I don't care how you do it. But
you know what it is to me? It's like they saw a train wreck getting ready to happen, and they didn't push their own car off the train tracks.
Yeah.
Whenever we can come out, we saw the kit, and I was like, oh man.
Oh my.
We could make a team with that.
Yeah, as I said.
The funny thing is that had it been Newt again, they would have nerfed it the same day.
Oh, I mean, Newt is just, that's tradition. You don't mess with tradition, Graham.
Look, we know eventually. Okay, Sith Raid's been out a long time, right?
Yeah.
We're rolling in on pretty gosh darn close to a year, aren't we?
February, March, April. No, when did it come out? 9 months.
I think it was around April.
Yeah, so 9
months.
We're talking
about is with really good mods and a lot of time, you might be able to solo P3. That's where we're at, right? With really good mods and with the right team, you might be able to do 20, 30% in P2 and 10% and 10 to 15% in P1, and 20% and let's say 50%, not even 50%, probably like again another 15% in P4. And somehow this is bad.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you guys have to know that if something happens where they miss it, and it's CG's fault for missing it. However, if they miss it, that's what makes our community so great. There are just these savants out there that'll be like, I will use this, and this, and test it out and see what happens. Aha, my hypothesis was correct, and the data shows the outlier. It's like, there are people out there like that will figure this crap out. They're just that ridiculously smart.
Yeah, but
now here's the good
thing is how could they not have found this?
Well, I mean, listen.
I mean, again, we all kind of theory crafted it as soon as we saw the kits.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing though is, at least again, we cannot judge somebody on their mistakes. We have to judge them on how they fix it.
Right.
Oh, I'm judging.
Here's the good thing. Well, here's the good thing, right? They didn't come out and knee-jerk come up and use the Nerf bat on a Monday after they release a character. What they said was, we're going to wait, we're going to review the data, we're going to come back after Christmas, and then we're going to fix it. To me, that's the right answer, right?
Do you know why they said that?
Why do you think they said that?
Because their code writer is currently on holiday.
That's right. See?
Okay, so right,
we don't have anyone here to nerf it at the moment, so we'll tell you enjoy over Christmas, and then we'll sort it.
I was just getting ready to say that. Merry Christmas! Spend more money on your Ewoks so you can solo all this stuff.
So let's talk about
just pull the Sith raid and give us back everything. Unnerf everything you've nerfed and pull the Sith raid.
No.
Go back and sort it.
So here's the deal, right? They said it's either Traya or it's Finn. They could band-aid it, which is just throw more tenacity on Traya, and it'll probably work. Or they could, or what I think is they probably need to come up with a more elegant solution with Finn. And that's not just remove the amount of turn meter. It's a combination of make it like the Night Sister rework, where the team actually got better in a different way.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is you can't just say, all right, well, we're going to take it from 35% TM on expose hit to 17.5. You got to do like, all right, we're going to remove the total TM gain and take it down to 17.5 or whatever, right? I'm just pulling 17.5 out of thin air. I don't know if that's the right number or not.
Just a number.
We do some number, and then we also add to the kit something like, and all other light side enemies gain half that amount. Boom! All of a sudden now we fixed the infinite loop, but we also made it where the team, now you have some other interesting comps and some other ways to explore that team, right? Now you could end up with a team that is CLS and is Han Solo and is on that team, or maybe here's something even crazier, right? Let's try to fix two things with one fix. We all got really ticked off that the Viagra brothers, right, veteran Han Solo and veteran Chewbacca, were not resistant. But yet there are times in the first movie where Chewbacca and Han really help out Finn. What if we were able to make the rework of his kit, make it where you could create a synergy team with Finn lead and Viagra Han and Viagra Chewie?
I like where you're going with this, Grande. We're going to make Viagra Brothers great again.
We're going to make Viagra Brothers, so somehow make it where his kit works and we've actually become more canon and more true to the movie at the same time. So now we've made this super elegant solution and fixed the nerf and fixed the infinite loop at the same time, and we haven't brought out the freaking Nerf bat. in order to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry to detract from the topic.
It's okay. It's it's on people's minds. That's what we do here. We talk about it. But you know what? It's time to do a roster review. And today
that was what I was just getting ready to say. Anyone else stoked about swgoh's Galaxy Heroes .gg's update to where you can now see people's fleet comps?
Yes, it's
Ranger. Tomorrow we have the fleet meta report we can cover during the Wednesday.
The hell if I'm showing that.
It's the fleet meta report with Harry Carey. First time ever.
I know. Last time Harry got in trouble apparently for.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully Harry learned his lesson.
No, he didn't. I'm doubling down.
Yeah, Harry learned his lesson. He's now shaved Carey, not Harry Carey.
And then when Halloween comes around, he's scary Carey.
Yeah, see, that's what you're doing there. Stop it. I hate it. Rescue.
And then whenever there's an angry forum post, he's CG Carey's interpreter.
That's right. I'm her emotions on display. Don't mess with CG Carey. She'll rip your eyes out. So today we're doing.
Does that mean at Easter he's Dairy Carey?
Okay, that's enough out of you. Okay. All right, today that was pretty good, Mike. Today we are doing Rescue Me's profile, and they are in Alpha Squad. And we actually have him with us today in the Skype call.
Yay!
What's going on, partner?
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, as you can tell, he is Canadian, but he does not associate with T-Money. I just want to throw that out there. Do not lump him into her piracy. So he's actually one of the good ones.
Hi.
Listen, Finn. Look, that's not a cue for you to go into pirate voice. All right. So Rescue Me. What are you looking for us? Let's just one thing at a time. I don't think arena's the issue. Got your Revan team there, looking pretty good. What do you want us to look at? Let's take the first thing. I think you had mentioned to me about you're struggling a little bit with PvE content. What about that, and what can we help you with?
Yeah, so as previously mentioned, PvP is not an issue. I've got all the meta teams, TW, GA, etc. I think where my biggest challenge is the Heroic Sith raid and having the opportunity to really maximize my team comp. So I've got the teams. I think I've got the mods. What I'm challenged with is turn orders in terms of moves and damaging, and also just the right way to mod the phase 1 through 4 teams.
Sure. That
is really where the biggest bang for the buck is going to come in, I think, for me.
Yeah, I'm looking at your roster. So it's a matter of what don't you have. Let me see what you don't have. Nope, you pretty much have everything. Okay, I can see you're working on certain things already just by looking at general view of your roster. Really nice roster, by the way. Ooh, oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh, okay. Like what you did there. Okay. All right. So phase 1, typically, what are you running? Let's break this down.
So I'm typically running the standard JTR team.
Okay, JTR. I'm assuming with R2D2, Scav Ray or Trooper, combination of those, Hermit Yoda or Visas Mar. What's the specific team that you like to run?
So currently BBA. I'm running BBA, JTR, R2, and then RT. And also Scavenger Ray, although I do have now a Zated C-3PO, which might be an interesting inclusion in there as well. Curious at the team's thoughts.
Don't you know that you should use that for Phase 3? And that joke went over everybody's head. God dang,
use it before they fix it.
Yeah,
our guild has actually banned that. We just actually want to have standard play.
I know, I'm being ironic.
Oh, okay.
Well, I understand. It's like, hey, everybody cleared phase 3 immediately. Crap. So typically, you're not using Hermit Yoda in that team. So typically, what are you getting for scores in there?
So I'm at about 5 or 6% with my JTR team. So okay. I think the highest I've ever maxed at any one point, I believe, was around 4.5 million. For some reason, I just can't get the damage.
It could be when you're using your abilities. And so one thing I notice a lot of people do is, on that JTR team is typically what I do is I go, if I have basics, because remember, if you use a basic on Trey, unless she has expose up on that, or sorry, Trey, Nihilus, if he doesn't have an expose, your basics are actually not doing as much damage. That's one thing that you have to look out for. I try to time my turn meter manipulation too. Since you're running Resistance Trooper, you can save his ability course when Nihilus gets shots. The other thing, too, is I like to use JTR's turn meter at certain points to do things. And then if I have nothing up at the moment, then what I do, too, is I'll go beat on Assassin or the Marauder just so I'm not doing something. Now, if there's expose on Nihilus, I hit him no matter what, especially with Scav
Ranger?
Yeah.
You have it on your game screen and not the GG.
That would help. So...
Science!
There we go. Thank you.
So we were just having a nice little chat, and you guys hopefully were able to follow along without kind of seeing everything. But now you'll be able to see everything.
Okay, thank you. I forgot where I was at. Finn, take over, because you just completely screwed me over. I can't think of where I was at. Phase 1 team, help me out here, Finn. I'm lost.
All right, so with the phase 1 team, I'm going to tell you right now, you need these mods with high crit chance and with speed on your resistance team. So Ray is the crit leader for the resistance. So part of it is we need to mod correctly in order to make sure that we're getting 4% turn meter on expose, which means we want to make sure that we have these right mods. I looked up all of your crit chance mods just now, the mods with high crit chance, and I don't see any of the mods with high crit chance secondaries on your resistance team.
Nope.
Until we get down to Ray at like 4.1 and some change. And so we need to really look at that. The other thing we need to look at is we need to look at putting a crit chance triangle on both BB-8 and on R2. This is not how we want to run them all the time. This is just how we want to run them when they're under Ray lead, just for this one team. Which means we need a crit chance triangle on BB-8, and we need a crit chance triangle on R2, and we don't have that right now. So if we want to in order to get successful in that team, that's kind of how we have to go. So it's crit damage potency sets with a crit damage triangle, offense primary cross, health or protection circle, and all crit damage secondaries, and potentially potency secondaries for Ray. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that Ray procs her and a potency cross for Ray. What we're trying to do is we're trying to proc the slow, the offense down, the whatever we can get on Ray with Resistance Trooper. Resistance Trooper's unique already gives him the potential chance for 50% turn meter on expose. So it's a crit-based exposed. It's not a potency-based exposed. So we want to have crit chance secondaries, an offense arrow, an offense cross, a crit damage triangle, all with crit chance secondaries, and lots of offense. But we don't even care about speed. Remember, on expose, the team gains 4% turn meter. So that's what we're trying to do. On regular Ray, we're looking for offense and crit chance with a crit damage triangle and crit chance secondaries on everything, with an offense cross and a speed arrow. And then BB-8 and R2, it's all offense and crit chance. So it's offense crosses, crit chance triangles, speed arrows, protection or health circles, not a problem. But we want lots of crit chance with speed secondaries and offense secondaries on those mods. Now, how does it work? here's one of the things. Most people don't understand how Illuminated Destiny works. The way Illuminated Destiny works is the character with secret intel, when they use a special ability, they reduce the cooldowns of secret intel. The idea here is that we want to how you do the opening salvo matters. So the other thing is every time you hit Nihilus, he gains 20 speed. So we want to not hit Nihilus as many times as possible, and we want to get exposes on the other two characters. So how does this work? You open up the match. The first one to go is BB-8. When BB-8 does secret intel, when BB-8 does his secret intel, he removes turn meter from Nihilus. So you do that move. The second move is probably going to be Ray, or it's going to be BB-8. With Ray, with JTR, the first move is remove turn meter on Nihilus. Now, R2-D2, you're going to do one of his two specials. You're either going to stealth and leave BB-8 open, or you're going to do burning and try to proc 3 exposes. On the proc of the expose, you gain turn meter. Now it's like Ray's turn, or it's Resistance Trooper's turn. We want to hit one of the secondaries, one of the side adds, either that Trooper dude or the Sith Assassin, with his special, and proc another one. Now it's Ray's turn again, JTR's turn. Now what you want to do is you want to do a call and assist, but you want to do it on one of the secondaries, but you don't do it with BB-8. This is one of the few times you don't do it with BB-8. Which character has the lowest damage with his basic, and that is R2. So you actually do a call in, trying to get expose and not kill the ad. Then it's Ray's turn, second special or third special. Then at that point it's and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the point where it's BB-8's turn. He removes another 4% turn meter on his basic, and then it's Ray's turn again. And now Ray's got her cooldowns reduced, and you can remove turn meter again. And then you hit, what you've done now is you've hit Illuminated Destiny before Nihilus has even taken a turn. This is the goal. The goal is every time Nihilus takes a turn, you've done enough specials that you get to go Illuminated Destiny every time Nihilus takes a turn. And how you do this is by spamming the special abilities of your characters while they have secret intel. And you do this by, whenever the ads are up, hitting the ads with the special abilities that do the weakest amount of damage. And then, of course, you got to keep track of the Annihilate on the same time. But it's this kind of funky little dance that you do that's going to get you a 5 million plus score in P1. It's done with a little bit of speed, a lot of crit chance, a lot of crit damage, a lot of offense, and different mod. So the biggest thing that I found for heavy PvP players is PvP players think I mod my characters for PvP and they're good at PvE. The difference with PvE content is there is modding, which is OP, which is overpowered for PvE content, which you would never in a million years use in PvP. We would never say, hey, we're gonna put an offense arrow on a relatively slow character for PvP. Everybody, most of the time, whenever you look at PvP, people think speed. All my speeds need to be on the right characters. Speed. Let me get some more speed. That's great. Most of the time for PvP, that's not exactly what you're looking for whenever we're doing PvE style content. So, what helps with this? Mod loadouts are the saving grace. Now you can have your characters modded for TW and modded for GA when it's GA time, and when it's TW time, and when it's arena time. And then when it's raid time, you can mod them for the raid. That's how you do P1.
All right. So does that make sense to you, Rescue?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my next step then is to start remodding and just finding the mod sets.
There you go. See?
Perfect. Yeah, mod sets and loadouts.
Somebody understood it.
Loadouts.
You understood that, Grim. Quit playing around.
Okay, so P2, right?
Revan.
P2.
Moving on.
Revan team. Now, let's talk about the Revan team. How do you do really well with a Revan team? Let me tell you something really crazy. Revan, Jolie, Bastila, Hermit Yoda, Grandmaster Yoda. That team can do almost 10% of P1 and then roll right into P2 and do 10% of P2, which means you don't have to wait. You see anything less than 10% rolling in P1, you throw in your Revan team. You can do 10% of that phase. Now, how does this work again? Again, we want crit damage and crit and offense and potentially potency sitting on Grandmaster Yoda. We do not care about Grandmaster Yoda's speed. In fact, I want anything but speed on Grandmaster Yoda. I want an offense arrow. I want a crit damage triangle. I want an offense cross. And I want a health or protection circle. And I want nasty offense on each one of these, which means I want flat offenses of more than 100 offense in each one of these areas. However, under a Revan lead, I do not care about crit chance. And here's why. Revan's leader gives crit chance. He's already going to be critting, so we don't need to worry about crit chance. We care about flat offense. We care about percentage offense. What we care about potency. We care about any kind of these attacker type things for Grandmaster Yoda. Jolie is fine with your basic tenacity and defense style sets for him that you use for arena. Bastila is fine with her basic sets for arena, basically speed and potency. Those are all fine. Grandmaster Yoda is again going to be the same way. Not Grandmaster Yoda. Hermit Yoda is going to be the same way. Plenty of speed, plenty of health, plenty of protection. Those type things are going to be just fine for him. So that's how you run the team. How's the team? The team is basically mildly different than how we run it in arena. And what I mean by that is we want Grandmaster Yoda to basically spam all of his abilities as much as he can. So how does this work? This works as we want to mark Nihilus, and then we want to use the AoE from Revan and the AoE from Grandmaster Yoda to kill the ads.
You meant Scion, right?
No.
Oh, you're talking about.
I'm talking about we're starting Revan with anything less than 10% left in P1, right?
Right.
And so if you're starting with anything less, and effectively how you play it against Nihilus is the same way you play it against Scion.
Okay.
You're basically always spamming between Revan and between Grandmaster Yoda. One of the things to make sure of, when Revan does his AoE, it's the same as a Thrawn turn meter swap, which means you're looking for the character with the highest amount of turn meter, and that's who you want to swap it with. Which means if it's Hermit Yoda, you're going to swap it with Hermit Yoda. If it's Jolie, you're going to swap it with Jolie, because you want to get the most number of turns you possibly can, which means it's not always Grandmaster Yoda. It's most of the time Grandmaster Yoda, but it's not always Grandmaster Yoda. Now, doing this will help you get more points in P2, and here's why. Everybody's got Master's Training by the time you roll into P2, which means all of a sudden you're putting up a score of 15 million with your Jedi because you because you've done part of P1
but Grande,
and part of P2.
Why do 15 million when we can do 15,000? I'm just saying.
So that's how we run it. If you get an opportunity to save Grandmaster Yoda, I mean not Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda, that's great. If you don't, it happens. How do you make it where you get him most of the time? Make sure whenever you were getting close to that, you got one cooldown left on Scion or something that you've used his heal ability a couple times. So he's got stealth and he's got foresight and everything else. So it's possible that he doesn't get hit. That's probably the best way that you're going to have to be able to save him, but don't plan on being able to save him. You can if you have enough time, depending on your guild, there's about 6 other teams you can run in P2, which is, a Palpatine team, with the Triumvirate, and Grandmaster Yoda or Sith Assassin. There's a crew team, there's a Ewok team, there's a Machine Gun Leia team, there's a GK Wampa Thrawn team. There's a bunch of different teams you can run in there. You're gonna, your mileage may vary. You could get 3 million with one of these teams, or you could get, 500K, right? It's just, but if you got a bunch of other people running Revan, good luck, dude. 3 or 4 Revans and that phase is over.
But Grande, why run 3 teams when we can just do a half team? Per se? No one?
P3. P3 is my money maker.
Okay, now listen, Grande. Let's not turn this into pole dancing. Just stay on target, buddy.
Here's why P3 is my money maker. Most people.
What did I just say about pole dancing?
I'm telling you, I'm gonna shake what.
Use other puns and or examples or metaphors.
Okay. So when I'm on the stripper pole known as Treya.
Oh, Finn, I try so hard.
The bright side is, at least her stripper pole comes in 3 pieces, so it takes a while to assemble.
And you just jumped right onto that bandwagon and just rode that thing.
Batteries, and I'm going to tell you, her Hitachi Wonder Wand batteries are not included.
Listen, oh my God.
Oh my.
Oh man.
Why are you talking about Phase 3, you mutant?
Because we already finished Phase 2, and now we're talking about Phase 3.
That's what I just said. Just talk.
So check.
Hello, am I?
I wonder if it's a coincidence that Treya has 3 lightsabers and she's in Phase 3.
That's right. So Chex Mix and variations of Chex Mix. I could never get, I see people score like 3.5 million with Chex Mix in P3. For whatever reason, I can't figure out those mechanics.
That's why we're going to let Finn tell us what to do.
2 million, 2.5 million is about the best I can do.
All right, Finn. Don't let Grande. He's going to. Yes, Finn. Please tell. Mix. Yeah, Grande will have us all getting 10 points in this. Finn, what's the key here? Phase 3.
Okay, so with the Chex Mix team, well, does he have the? How are your bounty hunter? Do you have Aura Singh before we go there?
I didn't see.
Because that would be the better team. But let me check your bounty hunters to see. And you can just. No. Okay, so that simplifies it. So I don't have to look it up.
But getting there. Okay. You're getting there. 5-star. Yep. You're getting there.
Okay, so. The Chex Mix team is actually fairly straightforward. Now, depending on what you want to do, there's different aspects of RNG that are associated with it, whether you use Chirrut or whether you use Chewie. Chewie, I think, is the better one, but there's actually a little bit more RNG to it than if you use Chirrut, and here's why I say that. Each of the lightsabers gets a buff, right? And so there's a different thing that it can apply. The problem is the stuff that it applies can be very annoying. A stagger on either Death Trooper or Han Solo is going to throw off your entire team, potentially. So what you're looking for in terms of the order, and that's why speed is very important with this, is that there's before Treya goes and after Treya goes. Those are kind of the 2 different classifications. Before Treya goes, you need Chewie or Chirrut, POW, and CLS to go. After Treya, you need Death Trooper to go first, followed by Han Solo. So you need Han Solo slower than Death Trooper, and you need both of them slower than Treya, which puts you at a speed of under 180. The other ones you're trying to basically get as fast as possible, just simply to make sure that they go ahead of Traya and then whatever they can do to the sabers. And so the sequence of events is that first your Han Solo is going to go. And when your Han Solo goes, you're going to try and attack a particular lightsaber. Now, the reason why Chewie is better than Chirrut is that Chewie will assist Han, and you can basically take out one of the lightsabers off the bat. Han does not need any speed. You just really need to get him maxed out on damage, just as much damage as you can. So that'll be his main modding priority. Crit damage set, offense secondaries, percentage secondaries on the offense percent, secondaries on the mods except for the cross and the arrow. Get some offense primaries on those, crit damage primary on the triangle. That's how you'll optimize damage on Han Solo. Now, one of the questions that's come up is what about crit chance secondaries and all of that? You do not need crit chance on Han Solo, especially if you're running Chewie, because between Chewie's guard and Han Solo's special, he gains 50% crit chance, plus his unique grants him 35%, I think it is. So you really don't need any crit chance on Han Solo, because crit chance on Han Solo is basically going to be totally wasted. So don't bother with crit chance. All you need is to focus on damage. And so when you focus on damage, Han is just going to be hitting like a beast. That's all you need him to do, because his damage is going to be primarily through counterattacking. So opening turn, you go with Han Solo. Han Solo will attack a lightsaber. You can take it out. Simple enough. Then next you'll have CLS go. Now CLS, you can do one of a couple of things. One will depend on where your guard is. If your guard is on CLS, more likely than not, it's going to end up on POW. And by the way, if I lose you at any point as I'm describing this, please let me know. So if the guard,
you already lost me.
Stop it, Graham.
You lost me at hello.
So if the other guard that Chewie puts out is on CLS, what you'll want to do is either attack a lightsaber that has foresight, or attack a lightsaber, or attack a Traya. The reason why you don't attack the other lightsabers is because you have to worry about Chewie assisting CLS and then attacking a lightsaber, and depending on your modding, potentially that can kill that lightsaber too. And you do need to make sure that you have two lightsabers up going into the standalone. If the guard is on POW, then you know that that Chewie will not assist CLS. And if you know that it's not going to assist CLS, you can potentially do CLS's special and remove one of the debuffs. But I would say don't do that and just wait until the following round in case it comes back up. Sometimes CLS, especially if you have a Zeta on his leader, I didn't check to see if you have a Zeta. Do you have a Zeta on CLS's leader ability?
I do not.
Okay. So there's still a chance that potentially CLS is going to gain some turn meter with his unique and go a little bit quicker. And so he might get another turn depending on how fast and everything you have him modded. He may end up going again before you get the standalone on Han. And so what you can do is just go with the basic on Traya, let it be. You'll get some counterattacks from Rebels and anything anyways when the lightsabers attack. But mainly you just need POW to survive. You need CLS to survive. Now, CLS doesn't really do anything, as you just heard, right? So if the lightsabers with the advantage or the foresight attack Luke and give him like a stagger, or they give him the ability block, it doesn't matter. But if you get ability block on Death Trooper, if you get the ability block on Han, or if you get the ability block on POW, you get screwed, because you need the offense up, you need the death mark, and you need the standalone. So you need to make sure that they're not ability blocked or that they're not staggered, so they lose turn meter. And as soon as they get staggered, because Traya's basic does damage to all enemies, then they are going to get hit and lose all of their turn meter. So this is where one of the things of RNG comes into play, because otherwise, if you use Chirrut instead of Chewie, Chirrut dispels in order to give tenacity up, versus Chewie putting guard on Han and automatically giving that tenacity with the guard ability. And so because of that, that's the one kind of RNG aspect to this. You have to watch the lightsabers and see where the lightsabers are attacking. If they're targeting, if they don't put a stagger or ability block on those 3 characters, Pow, Death Trooper, and Han, you're fine. So, and you have a chance of resisting and all other kinds of things too. So that's why I mentioned, like, specifically watch for those debuffs. Chewie doesn't do anything really except provide the guard. And then you want to make sure you mod them all for high offense, so that when Han does the standalone, they'll carry over a lot of damage with the standalone. So Chewie doesn't do anything, CLS doesn't do anything, but you need Pow to go before Traya in order to provide offense up. Then the lightsabers will attack, right? And then Traya will attack. And so you need to make sure none of your characters die. And as long as they're alive, by the end of Treya's attack, you're fine. After Traya goes, your Death Trooper should go. Your lightsaber was killed early, either with Han in the opening salvo, or you were able to use like Chewie or CLS in order to take out one of the lightsabers. 2 lightsabers should be left. You put Death Mark on Traya. If CLS comes up again, you can dispel one of the other lightsabers just to remove any abilities, so it just doesn't have any effect on Han. But he has tenacity up, so it's more just kind of like a failsafe almost. Then Han goes. Han, you do standalone, and then you do Never Tell Me the Odds. So he gets all those buffs. Now comes another part of RNG that always happens, which is Han unfortunately ends up with a dodge. And so one of the things you'll have to watch also is, are the lightsabers hitting or are they getting dodged? I really wish there was a way to remove a buff if you didn't want it, but you kind of get stuck with it.
That's right.
So,
you like it too.
Yeah. So Han will have a dodge as well. Ideally, you don't want him dodging. So you want him to get hit with those lightsabers, because every time he gets hit with the lightsaber, he's going to counterattack. But there's a death mark on Traya, so he's constantly counterattacking and hitting Traya. And so that's essentially then the sequence of Han. You don't use his special, right? You don't want to run out the meter on the standalone. So you don't want to do the special and gain turn meter, because then you're going to slow it down. So you just want to use your basic pretty much on Han when it's Han's turn. Focus on Traya. Traya and the lightsabers will attack. Now, depending how close you got your turn meter to Traya when Han does his standalone, gives you that little bit of damage aspect to figure out. So ideally, you get Death Trooper around 179. You get Han just under that. You can get him slower, but you want him a little bit slower. That way he doesn't accidentally do anything to go a little bit above. So typically, we say almost no speed, because you really just want to load him up with damage. But I think mine is around like 160 something, and it's still fine. Or no, 145. Mine's 145. It's still plenty fine. But if you want to increase it a little bit to time it up with Death Trooper a little bit better, that would be kind of how you optimize your damage a little bit. But that's the overall concept behind the Chex Mix.
All right.
Now, I'm going to tell you, ain't nobody got time for all that.
Yes,
so
I do
it. I do it, and then I'm like, oh, great. I got 1,000,000 something. I need to do better. So what do?
That is why you fail.
I do a crew team, a trooper team. I do a wedge-led Gen Rolo team.
Oh my god!
With Vader and
oh my god!
And Night Sister Initiate.
Oh
I'm
my
not
god!
Even kidding you.
No, listen.
I do another team with Dooku's.
Okay, we don't need the breakdown, Grinder. We get to use a lot of teams.
And Jedi Knight.
All right, we're moving on.
With Night Sister Acolyte, I do another.
Stop it.
Bounty Hunter team. I'm telling you, I run like 12 teams in there, and I do like. I'm not even kidding you. When we're done with P3, I've done 10 million damage in P3. And because P3 lasts for a long time. So I have the opportunity to sit there and goof around in P3. And then I get everything done, and I get all set up to run my Night Sisters at P4. And here's the deal. I put my Night Sisters in P2. In P3. When P3 has anything less than 2% left on P3. Because my Night Sisters can do 3% of P3, and then they could do like 50% at Nihilus and 75% at Scion.
All right. Mike, you there? Did we lose Mike?
Mike.
So he can't do that because you could tell us in the chat too, Rescue. But he just said that he's only allowed one attack per phase, so he's not going to be able to do what you're saying.
That's right.
Oh god.
That's right. And then you're going to go in. You're going to do phase 4, which is the Night Sisters. Not a lot of craziness to this team. It's Asajj Lee with Towson and Zombie and Breakfast Cereals and Origami, and you just lay pain. That's pretty much all it is to it. I mean, but if you can do what we just suggested in the first 3 phases, I mean, your score will be so great that Night Sisters is just a nice icing on the cake. And it's really the most
potentially effective. You're at 20. Yeah, potentially you're at 20 million going into P3, going into P4.
But I think the Night Sisters are a pretty solid, easy team to run. It's not hard. It's not complicated.
No speed, all offense.
It's straightforward.
All offense, crit damage, and you basically spam through the heels. That's how it works. You spam through the heels, and you can make it work.
Yeah. It's just damage. It's just getting Asajj rocking and rolling and just keeping your team alive. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So once Asajj gets going, it's like attack, kill, more damage. It's just a cascading effect where you're like, aha.
A couple of things. I would mod Mother Towson for offense and not mod her for.
I modded her for defense. What's weird?
You modded Mother Towson?
I made that up, Grant. I just wanted to see you have a stroke.
Oh, okay.
You almost made Grande's head explode.
I know. That's for the damn poll thing you did put me through earlier.
I literally I felt my pulse through a blood vessel in my brain there.
Good.
It was like dunk dunk, and then I was like, what?
That sounds like the Law and Order music.
I know, right? Dun dun.
Well, I'm saying. Anyway, turn meter reduction on basics and on Mother special and on Asajj Ventress's special. You basically, after Nihilus goes, you want to hit Scion 4 or 5 times, and then the minute you see Nihilus's turn meter creep up even a fraction, you go over to basics on Nihilus. So then Nihilus goes, and then you go back over to specials and hitting on Scion until you see any kind of movement at all. And the way this works is it's turn meter gain on heal, which means anytime Talia does not have 100% turn meter, you want to use a heal ability from one of the Night Sisters to get her back up. So it's about spread out. You're spreading out the Asajj Ventress heal, you're spreading out the Daka heal, you're spreading out the 2 Talia heals, you're spreading out the Mother heal. You're basically saying, I want to do these heals, but I want to do them spread out so that I've always got some turn meter action going.
I'll give you some turn meter action, Grande.
Ooh, you will?
No, I made that up.
Say it again, like you mean it.
I don't mean it. In fact, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. All right, so anything else we need to look at? Rescue, I mean, is the PvE content, and that was the big thing that he wanted us to look at. What is there anything else we need to cover for Rescue? I mean, that's quite a lot we just hit him with. That's a lot of modding and crap. Jesus.
Yeah, no, that's great, guys. I really appreciate that. I think I got what I need here to sort of go back to the drawing board with some of these mods. I mean, all my Night Sisters are over 100 speed each.
Nice.
So I've got to head back to the drawing board. But yeah, really appreciate your time, guys. And thanks again.
No, that's what we live for. See, when another happy customer. That's what we like to do here at RSG. And if you would like to be a happy customer, visit Grande. If you would like to have a roster review, then just send your GG page to Dr. Finn. See what I did there, Grande? I'm gonna get you back for that poll crap. And send your GG page to Dr. Finn. Make sure it responds. We'll add you to the queue, and you just have to wait until it's your turn. And when it is, we will get you squared away. So, okay. Let's see here. Okay, look here. All right, so I think it's time for some questions. Now, one thing that we're going to do, we're going to get through some of these questions, but you know what I think we should do, Dr. Finn, is I've got my Grand Arena still up. I haven't done any of the offensive teams. We could go in, and we could do some of these offensive teams and kick that ass.
Okay.
But what are we looking
Ranger
at?
will attack in Grand Arena while we answer questions.
Yeah.
We've got 5 teams, right? We got 5 teams we're looking at.
That's right.
Show me the 5. What are the 5 teams we got?
Well, we've got right now on the front line, we've got an Ewok team and a Kira stall team with Nest. So it's only 3 stars. It's only 61,000 power. Ugh, that's not even a stall team. What is that? It's Kira, Lando. It doesn't even have L3. What is their Nest speed at? Oh my God. Let me look at the stats.
Ding ding.
Let me look at the stats here. Speed is 239. Oh, for the love of God. All right, so we got an Ewok team that doesn't even have Zeta Chirpa, and then on the other side we've got a droid team with... I don't even think they tried. Look at this. I haven't even looked at this, but the Bounty Hunter team is like 53,000, and then the back line's like droids like 63,000. I mean, for the love of malarkey.
So I would go in with a... So let's look at the Bounty Hunter team. Do we still have Bastila available?
Yeah, we do. Easily.
So I would go in Bastila, Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda, Ezra, and
I can go Jolie and...
You're still showing the GG thing, by the way, Ranger.
No, do not put Jolie on that team. Wait. You don't have Revan, do you?
I don't have Revan.
Yeah. Put Jolie on that team. Yes, put Jolie on that team.
So I'm going to go attack this with the Jedi team.
I want you to do a Jedi team and just make sure you got. Let me think about this for a minute.
I could go in there with 4 of these.
So while Grande is thinking, sanely, give us the first.
I don't even need Jolie in here. I just go with
leave Jolie out. You can just do 4.
Oh
Literally,
my God.
you can just do 4. You just need 4. Yeah, GK, the 2 Yodas, and Bastila.
Oh my God! I mean, is this?
Nope.
They weren't even trying.
Win. You'll win, and they'll all have protection.
Go to the game.
Question. Just jump in here with a question.
Yeah,
jump in with a question, bro.
Tangent Revolution. Question: why did the chicken cross the road? Answer: he saw a big deal in the parking lot on the other side.
Okay.
Boom!
He crossed to join Dark Lords. Next question.
In Dark Lords with a really nice jacket. That's all I gotta say.
Carlos Mendez. Question: best mods for Traya in Arena versus Revan and Traya. Just unlocked her yesterday.
Oh, if you just unlocked, you're gonna have a really tough time doing the tanky Traya. 5-star Traya versus 7-star Revan is gonna be tough, man.
Yeah, because you need protection primaries, protection secondaries. With that low of a star, you'd probably want to go defense set. You can, as you get higher, you can try offense. I've been doing offense set, but defense is probably the safer bet for you. You're going to be just trying to reduce the ability for Revan to do damage to the health. You want him to stick with the protection. So more protection, the better. That's essentially what you're aiming for.
I agree.
Kashmir. Question: will definitely get Revan next time around. In the meantime, would it be worth putting a Zeta on Bastila?
If you have enough Jedi to back up a second team for her lead.
I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. You can actually split, once you get Revan, you can actually split the Jedi into 2 teams. The team we're having Ranger run right now, and then basically a Revan and some other Jedi can kill something else. So it's not a bad choice.
Hey Finn, the super chat is turned off still.
Yes, so this is what I'll say for that. Thane, if you want to donate, go to the Tiltify and then do it, and I will read the comments that you put in there.
Oh, there you go.
I actually have the Tiltify open, so we want to
continue. Tiltified.
So we still have our ACS campaign going on. We're still trying to raise. We're doing this until our run in April. So if you guys would like, please make sure that you donate to the ACS campaign. The link to the Tiltify and everything is there. You get the option to donate and put something in the comments, and they do show up for me. So what you can do, Thane, is you get like a triple benefit. So 1, you can donate to the ACS. 2, you can then donate to a challenge that could potentially get me to put on a wig, Grande to wear the CG Carry Pool Boy shirt, McVenom to change her name to Tits McVoltron, whatever you want. And then you can put a comment, and I will read it. Mm-hmm. So it's a triple benefit. There you go. Science.
That is science. Next question.
Oh. And there is a way we can work on it, Ranger. There's a way we did it before to get the Tiltify when they donate and stuff to get it to pop up. But we have to set that up on your new computer, so we'll do that later.
I get Tiltify.
David Bond, question: will CG identifying that C-3PO will not be changed, is this a prelude to possible synergy that he may have with future characters, i.e. the next Luke?
Possibly. We don't know what the next thing's going to
be. Yeah, more than likely.
All right, so the next team we have in this zone, so we got the Ewoks, we got the Kirasuki team with Ness, and then we've got this droid team, and the droid team is HK-47 lead with, what's his speed? Usually it's this one, the speed. Oh my god. No speed.
It doesn't matter. Does it have Java Engineer on it?
No, it has L3, T3. It has Magna Guard, IG-100, and Grievous.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you right now, you should be able to take out. So, which team do you think of as being the next highest level team that you can see?
I mean, the next highest team, that's 63,000. The Kier team, I think, is 61. The Ewoks are 73.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I mean, it's droids.
I would say.
You could do it with a Maul lead. You could do it with Wedge lead. Right?
Old Ben, Ugnaught, Eth Koth.
This is why Finn is not allowed to talk.
Mason, dude.
He's not wrong.
No, I'm serious. They're droids.
I mean, I could go in there with my big.
And I'm gonna die.
I could go. You know what? We could go with Biggs, Wedge.
Old Ben, Ugnaught, and East Cost.
No, I used my old Ben already. I mean, who else do we want to put on this team? We could go. Let's go.
Think Harvell says use Jawas.
I'm not using goddamn Jawas. I refuse.
Jawas do work against droids.
I know, but mine are so awful.
Rangers droids aren't that great, or Jawas aren't that great.
I really hate them.
Go Rex Wampa and kick its ass.
Rex Wampa? Don't I want to keep Rex Wampa for...
That's a little overkill for...
That's a little overkill. I think the big...
Not if it's just 2 characters. That's getting a lot of extra points. You can
just
probably do it with just the 2 of them.
You want me to try this with Rex Wampa?
Nah. Try it with that first team that we talked about. Go like Wedge, Biggs,
Akbar.
You could do that. Akbar, Leia.
I can go Stormtrooper Han.
Don't do Stormtrooper Han, because he's going to get focus fired and die.
We don't want to do that.
He's going to die. Don't do him.
KTSO? Scare for Rebel Pathfinder?
Scare for Rebel Pathfinder's a better choice. Gives offense up.
I mean, this is going to be pretty nasty.
You might be able just to skip that 5th also.
I'll do that on some other teams and stuff. All right, who do I want to kill first here? Here, I'll share my screen so you guys can see it. Sorry.
And sanely, you can get us another question in the meantime.
You probably want to kill M3 first, actually.
David Lee, question: how do I mod the Finn C-3PO team to beat Revan?
It can be done with no mods.
You said kill M3 or L3
You need
first?
a fast Finn, don't you?
M3, if you can.
I thought it was C-3PO.
No, it can be beat with no mods. Watch Nukin's video. He does it with no mods.
This is to beat Revan, not the raids.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was like, what the hell? That would be some kind of broken crap, Graham, if you could beat a Revan with an unmodded C-3PO.
I apologize. I misunderstood the question.
Don't worry, I made the same mistake yesterday with that other question. It's fine. It's just fine.
So you do need some you need speed on C-3PO.
And I think you need a lot of potency in order to trigger all of the exposes. No, the explosives are rebels. What was the resistance one? I forget.
The resistance one is.
It's gonna be like it's like OG Han, CLS, freaking Art Resistance Trooper, I think.
I'm gonna look it up now because I haven't looked too much. I haven't looked too much in the mod stuff for those teams.
Ranger, how we doing over there? Did you
I won. Yeah, it was nothing.
All right, so what's
his backline is clone troopers, and I'm sharing screen so you can see it, and then it's Rogue One with the piston and a fulcrum.
It's offense down for resistance.
Offense down. Okay.
So I've got my 4 best teams left, and I could easily wipe out all these teams. It's just a matter of which ones we want to do.
Yeah, they just pick. What do you?
We've got CLS, we've got JTR, we've got Palpatine, we've got Traya team, we've got troopers. We've got a smorgasbord of.
Use Traya against that Kira Stall team.
Okay, let's do that.
And potentially, you only need 3 characters. The Triumvirate.
Okay. So you just want me to use Traya, Nihilus, and Scion, that's it?
So it wasn't. Okay, so I thought it was right. So it is speed and speed for all of them, and you need potency, but you're running Han and Chewie on that team, if that's the team you're talking about, which is Zeta Finn, C-3PO, R2, Han, and Chewie. That's the team that I think can beat the Revan team. Mm-hmm. And that one you do need potency on Han, because Han and Chewie will do the expose and trigger the Finn effect. So,
the Finn effect.
Yeah, the Finn effect.
So you want me to go in this here with just the Triumphant, nothing else?
I mean, if you really want to put Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper on that team, go right ahead.
No, I'm asking you. I mean, I'm already more power than they have right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to win just fine. Just make sure you kill Vandor Chewbacca first. With just Triumvirate.
All right, I'm going to try this, Grande.
The nest was also not Zeta'd.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
So that means you just need something to taunt in order just to eat up the damage, and you're fine.
You're just gonna pain the hell out of them, and you're gonna kill freaking Vandor Chewbacca first.
Let's kill Vandy Chewie first.
Kazagagi, too easy. Question: I have a Gear 9 Chirpa, Gear 11 Elder, Scout, Gear 11 Wicket, and Gear 8 Tebow. Should I Zeta Chirpa and move arena mods around to try and get C-3PO? I have 2 Zetas, was saving for Revan, 3 days away from 3rd Zeta.
If you're running Tebow and he's Gear 8...
That's going to be tough, man.
It's going to be tough. I'm kind of thinking you don't bother Zetaing Chirpa. If you want to move around your mods and try, that's fine, but you're doing a complete RNG check. So you may just want to run a Tebow lead and see if you can keep Ewok Elder stealth and just go from there. Because you're not running Paplu, so you're going to have a hard time dispelling the taunt.
Or Low Gray.
You're not running Law Gray, so you don't have a taunt removal and additional ability boost.
Or Daze.
Yeah. You don't have either of the 2 characters that I think are really helpful, Law Gray and Paplu. You're running Scout and Tebow instead. Unless you want to work on the Ewoks, and you're not doing Ewoks just for the event, I would say wait. Don't bother putting a Zeta on Chirpa. If you want to switch around your mods, that's fine. If you want to just kind of play around and see how close you can get. But I would not put a Zeta on Chirpa unless you plan on working on the Ewoks.
I agree with Finn. How we doing, Ranger?
Oh, we wiped that team easily.
Okay, so now I want you to use CLS on Ewoks.
Just CLS, nothing else?
No, CLS, OG Han, Chewie.
No, definitely don't do just CLS.
No, that's terrible.
Well, someone
said they're going to stealth, so it's not going to do anything.
Well, someone said use CLS just for the clones. I'm like,
for the clones, yeah, but the Ewoks stealth, which means you're not going to counterattack.
All right, so who do we want to run for the Ewoks? Not troopers, I guess. So you said
I'd run CLS, OG Han, and Vent and Chewbacca.
You might be able to go with just that.
You sure?
If you want, I mean, no, let's not risk it because the other guy has 1,700, right? So, yeah, put in something else.
I'm going to show Cherutin Bays.
Yeah. Well, what are the other teams? You have a First Order team left too?
No, Clone Troopers.
Clone Troopers
and Gen Lead.
Oh, that's a Jin. Okay.
I still have JTR.
Sorry, it looked like a crew when it was kind
team.
of scanning through. Okay.
You have a what left?
I still can go Palpatine, Vader, all of them.
Your Palpatine Vader team is going to go up against Jen.
Yeah.
Right. And then Troopers, or I can use JTR against the Clone Troopers, and then I guess I can use Sheila's team against this one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly how you're going to do it.
All right, so let's kill this Ewok. So for this team, we want to go CLS,
Chewie,
Han, Chewie,
and Cherutin Bays.
All right, and Chirrut and...
Dan is saying use your Ewoks against their Ewoks.
No, I use mine on... no. I'm shocked at how awful this defense is. It's just making me get easy points. All right, who do we want to kill first?
It doesn't matter. Ewok Elder is who you want to kill first.
Let's go burn Elder. Bye-bye, Elder. Now you have nothing. Now we'll kill...
More questions. Jump right in there, Stanley.
All right. Mike Brook. Question, my crew farm won't happen for a long time. What would you people suggest as a decent Phasma lead team for territory battles, territory wars, Grand Arena? Thanks.
Stop everything and go farm crew in freaking Cantina because it's a freaking double drop every day. Crew and cruise ship right now.
Sith Lord 72 question, why as a consumer CG continues to nerf characters after I have spent time, energy, and most importantly money to obtain? Isn't this a form of misleading false business practices? Thoughts?
Welcome to these types of games. They do it in all of them.
I'm telling you.
Especially like Heroes of the Storm.
They do not have enough testers to test everything to the way the consumer tests stuff. You have basically just said the same thing as like, well, I bought a car and then they had a recall. Isn't this like against consumer protections? I mean, think about what you're saying. You just spent $35,000 or $80,000 on a car and they had a recall. And now you're upset that they had a recall. You just spent $80,000 on this thing. Be happy you still have your game to play, bro. When it's your car, you got to go take it to the freaking dealer, and you don't have your car for a week because they screwed up the freaking seatbelts. I mean, let's be real here for a minute. We cannot judge someone on the mistakes they make. We can only judge someone on how they fix the mistakes. Humans are human. They are going to screw up. And they are going to screw up royally, and they are going to continue to screw up royally. If you ever think that humans are not going to screw up, you need to live in reality. It's going to happen. The idea here is, how do they fix their mistakes? That's the true measure of character.
Kazakagi Too Easy. Question, does everybody's potency on the JTR team need to be over 50% for Phase 1 in Heroic Sith Triumvirate?
Nope.
No.
Doesn't even have to do with potency.
You have nothing. JTR team is a crit-based exposed team. The only character that needs potency is JTR herself, and it has nothing to do with exposed. You're trying to proc the buff immunity, and you're trying to proc slow and offense down, and all that other crap that freaking JTR puts on. The only character that needs potency is JTR. Everyone else needs crit chance and high damage. Besides, R2-D2 gives potency. Go read R2-D2's abilities. Next question.
Darth Rada 1972. Question 1, will this nerf affect Heroic AAT? And question 2, since the raid has been out for a while, is it really a big deal if a team can solo a phase? Look at how much damage Revan does, and he isn't getting nerfed.
This is why I don't like the reasoning that they put with the first thing. So it is upsetting. So in pretty much any game I've ever played, when they release a new character, there's always this period where you expect them to see how the character plays out and then expect some kind of nerf. I mean, Grim knows, we were just playing Heroes of the Storm, right? And like every time they bring out this like update after a character release, and there's some kind of nerf to it, right? Mal'Ganis was getting nerfed, and Orfeo was getting nerfed. And I mean, you kind of just expect a nerf afterwards because they release it with a particular kit. Sometimes it's undergeared, and so then they give it a little bit boost. But most of the time, the new characters that they promote, they often go a little bit overboard, and then they have to pull it back. So it's just one of the things that happens with the game that's annoying. But to the extent of that, I was a little bit annoyed with the post yesterday. I think it was by Top Hat, where on the Reddit forum, where they said that because it was only affecting AAT, that they weren't going to do anything and they only care about like the high-end content. And that's what I found really bizarre, because if there is an infinite loop...
It is bizarre. The infinite loop is a problem, regardless of even if it's in the AAT. The problem here with the team is that it's an infinite loop. How we are able to auto the Rancor has to do with DPS and has to do with the abilities, and it's not an infinite loop, right? It's turn meter reduction, it's other things, it's DPS. That's how we beat the Rancor. That's how the AAT needs to be beat. Not beaten because you can infinite loop. And here's how you can tell. There's a larger problem with infinite loops, right? And let me explain to you what the larger problem is. The larger problem is it makes the actual game engine glitchy. Because when you get into an infinite loop, the system doesn't know what to do, and it becomes glitchy. Go take your C-3PO and go solo the AAT with your freaking Finn team, and don't tell me that the game is not glitchy by the time you get down to the end. Everyone that I have seen that uses that C-3PO team and plays in the AAT ends up, here's how you can tell it's glitchy. You start phase 3, and the characters look like it's you put in a new team. All the abilities are cooldown reset. Everything is set up differently. And you're like, oh, crap, that game almost glitched. And then you go into P4, and it's like, oh, crap, that game almost glitched. And then you go, and here's what happens. You get down to the end, and it takes you forever and a freaking day to see the freaking victory screen. Here's the problem. Infinite loops create other problems inside the game engine on your phone. It's a problem. It's a real problem. Like for game crashing is a problem, right? I mean, let's talk about the biggest problem that can happen in the game. Your game crashes and you lose what you were trying to do. That's fatal error. So we cannot have fatal errors in the game. And
that happened to me yesterday.
And infinite loops create a fatal error, potentially, which is why we don't want them, which is why we typically don't want them in the game. You guys think, oh, they're just doing this because they hate the little man, and they hate this, and I'm the little guy, and nobody cares about me. Let me tell you, they actually care about you a bunch. They just do a very bad job of describing it and explaining why something is a bad thing. Should he have made the comment about the infinite loop and why it's okay in the AAT? What he means is it's okay to have an auto solo team. It is not okay to have an auto solo team, and the reason why it works is because it's an infinite loop. There's a difference between those two. Ranger, how we doing on whatever it is we're doing? You killing it?
We're kicking ass, yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it. You got them all stunned. Keep going. Go kick their butt.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't like that original response when the AAT solo thing came up, and so when the response was ill-advised. Yeah, and I mean, so when the Sith Raid thing came up, right, it became obvious that they were going to change it, because essentially in his post he said if it affects Sith Raid or like Grand Arena or something like that, they would change it. But I don't understand where their mentality comes from. I know you guys think that Grande and I are like defending CG, and for me, I'm not. To some extent, you do have to judge somebody by how they deal with something after it happens, but there is another part of it where does this happen repeatedly over and over again? And at this point, it is happening over and over again. And so either they're okay with this being the way that it is, which means that every time, I would say every player has the right to complain, because we're seeing the same thing over and over again where it feels like there isn't enough testing. But if that's the way they're going to roll it out, that's also what players need to expect. And that's not necessarily saying that we like it, nor should we like it, but that's just the way it is. But
so let's talk
these
about
characters
testing.
are coming out. They're coming out a little glitchy, and the way that they're releasing some of these things and then pulling it back, I think there's nothing really we can do about it. They've already shown us that this is the way they're going to roll it out.
Standard operating procedure, right? We need an SOP for the devs that stops this from happening. Here's how that works. In-house testing, beta testing, open beta testing, then released in the real environment. That's how you make this work. When you have an SOP like this, like how we got for Territory Wars, it comes out very, very much less glitchy. Now, here's the problem with that scenario. And let me tell you, when you run a bunch of open betas, when you run a bunch of betas, you end up with less participation. And so potentially the thought is that whenever you do this, participation levels continue to go down and down and down, and then that system doesn't work. Here's a second one, right? Potentially some of the they don't want to beta test everything because they're on a time constraint. The third thing why this may happen is because potentially they want these things to be a surprise to the player base so that everybody gets that Christmas present from Santa Claus type experience. And if they beta tested everything and it was real methodical, then you wouldn't have that like kind of giddy surprise that you have. So there are multiple reasons why they're not doing this way. I particularly don't agree with them. I would rather see us go through a standard operating procedure of everything gets beta tested, everything gets alpha tested, everything gets open beta tested, and then it goes into the real game. But that's a little ho-hum, right? I mean, that's like missionary style.
We mentioned the high and low aspect too, right? Where you don't go overboard and then pull something back. So even though they may want to give us that like that new Christmas present type of thing, like you're saying, if every single time there's a some sort of post saying, oh, this isn't working as intended, we're going to work on some way to pull it back, then basically you're putting something in front of us that you want us to be excited about, and then you're pulling it back. So you're actually defeating your purpose every single time.
You're basically saying, yeah.
I'm going to give you a whole apple pie for Christmas. Wait, the apple pie costs too much. I'm going to give you a single Oreo cookie. That's essentially what they're doing every single freaking time.
It's like you unwrap your Christmas present, and what's inside and the box is like a freaking brand new iPod, and then you open it up and there's a freaking like stone inside. I mean, that's what it's like, right? You get all excited. Oh dang, I'm getting a new iPhone, and then you're like, son of a gun, I got a freaking rock. Like that's what ends up happening, right? So it's the disappointment level. I think we can all agree that we have a certain level of disappointment, and it would be nicer if they followed some type of checklist, flight manual, some kind of standard operating procedure that went character design, alpha testing, beta testing, open beta testing, fix it, put it in the real game. I'd love it.
Science.
Yeah, it is upsetting from the player perspective for sure. That every single time it seems like there's a new character.
It's not every single time. We didn't nerf Chewbacca, right? We didn't nerf Revan, right? It's not every single time, but it's enough where it's a problem.
But it's every time that we find a use for the character. That's the problem. It's the ones that we find most useful. Revan is the only one that really didn't get a nerf that we found super useful.
No, I mean, come on. They didn't nerf Bastila.
Bastila wasn't really that super useful. Think of the characters that changed the meta. Bastila was okay, but she didn't really change it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Bastila was meta.
Traya was still the meta.
No, Bastila became a meta counter.
She became a meta counter, but I'm saying she didn't become the meta. The meta team was still Traya.
If you make it to the top 10 with a new character that comes out, that's a game changer.
That's way too light of a description for me, but okay.
That's right.
I mean,
We'll agree to disagree. So let's move on to the next question. I won my chair. I won the Grand Arena. It was really not that hard.
Excellent. Way to go. Pat yourself on the back.
No, not really.
We got a lot more questions.
Let's just get started.
Next question.
Hogzilla, question, please. Can I get a shout out for my guild, Shadow of Korriban? We just beat the heroic Sith raid for the first time.
Hey,
shout out.
Congrats.
Way to go. Woohoo! Shadow of Korriban. Way to go on your heroic Sith raid. Welcome to Treyashards, babies.
Word.
Paul Bracamonte, question, why is Phase 3 always the one that is broken and forces CG to nerf characters?
I think it's the design of the phase. It's a be all end all phase. You know, it's like it leads the design.
It's the same reason C-3PO is getting nerfed. There's too many things going on at once.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Here's the other thing too: as far as I'm concerned, it's the only phase with a topple, right? In the Sith raid, it's the easiest to have issues with that. She gains and loses stuff based on if she has a topple or if she doesn't have a topple, and she can get a bunch of freaking debuffs.
I don't know if anybody knows this, but I think Finn had told me that you designed that phase. Good job, Finn.
Damn it!
What is up with your trolling? I blame Finn. But Ranger, what is up with your trolling today? You got some serious troll game going on.
I know. I'm just letting you guys do all the talking, and I'm trolling today. You know.
All right.
Well, I mean, you guys are singing songs and talking about polls and other things. You guys deserve it.
Sean, question, do you think we will need the new Old Republic characters at 7-star?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think we've gotten all of them yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So
we've only gotten 2 dark side ones.
Or 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're gonna need them.
Travis Anderson, question, how'd the panel do in their Grand Arena? I won 2, lost 1.
Mr. Anderson has a question. Mr. Anderson, what are you doing? Mr. Anderson, I won 2 and lost 1.
Yeah,
I lost the last one.
Yeah, the one previously I lost because I wasn't paying attention. I got distracted by the old wife on the Kira Stall team. He had killed everything but Nest, and I've just turned my head away at the 2-minute and 27-minute mark or somewhere around there, and started doing something. And came back. I had 20 seconds left. I'm like, no. I didn't have time to take out Nest. I'm like, no, why, no. But it's all in fun. It's all good. So I'll go 2 and I just do it 2 and 1. So
there's your question.
I ran into a cheater first round, so I don't care about Grand Arena anymore.
What do you mean?
Gosh, you ran into a cheater.
The dude had all his best teams on defense and was still able to completely clear my board with 1 battle each. Even my Treya-led arena team.
That is a little fishy. I'm sorry, that's a little fishy. Wait a minute. Wait, so all his best...
I went through and looked through the event rewards and looked at the dude's roster and checked it against what he had on defense when I was fighting it. And it was all his best tunes were on defense. Mm-hmm. The rest were all Gear 7 and Gear 8.
Wow.
So
well, that's on them, not on you, buddy.
Beating a Gear 12 Treya team that has arena mods on it, a top 50 team with crap tunes, no. That's with only 1 battle, no.
So Thane donated and said, "Can we skip the question about the nerfing? We go through this as a community all the time. It's getting old."
Yeah, that's why I pushed it to the next question.
It's true. They do this all the time.
Yeah, but we've discussed it enough. It ain't changing anytime
but
soon.
But we're eventually... So here's the real problem, Thane. We're all consumers, right? And so we know that this is happening, and yet we continue. It is the definition of insanity and addiction. That's the big problem.
You know, Vincel makes a great point. Maybe Grim just sucks. Well, you know, Vincel... I mean, he's just calling you out, bro.
Just V came out of nowhere.
I know.
How's that bounty hunter team going for you, Advanced Steel?
Yeah, and Ouchie kind of co-signed on that one too. Grim.
Hey, I reported him. If CG finds him as a cheater, so be it. But that's just fishy being able to beat that kind of stuff with your 8 tunes.
I kind of wondered how he pulled that off. Because, I'm sorry, Trey on defense, you're not... No. 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 Not if they didn't use... If there's CLS and Trey...
Now, if it took like defense. 3 or 4 battles, I wouldn't have...
Or if he had... If you didn't have on defense, say, like his CLS...
The dude doesn't even have Revan or JTR.
Oh, for God's sakes, yeah. That is really not even... I mean, and you're saying he left his best teams on defense, so that would mean he left, like, his trade team, if he had it, a Revan team on the defense as well?
Hey, look,
yeah,
if Grim
no
says he found a cheater, if Grim says he found a cheater, I'm going to believe him.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Or we could go with the other hypothesis that's on the board that Vince Hill put in, that Grim sucks.
Come on, we know that's not true. Next question.
Yep. Chewy, question, why do the Dark Lords get so much hate?
Because of Grande.
Hideous.
Well, Hideous doesn't help either, yeah.
Okay, so Chewy is a Dark Lords member. Here's the deal. We talk about Dark Lords a lot because we really do help a lot of people.
We do. It's a really good they do a good job.
And RSG, they do it a little bit because they're poking fun at Hideous and they're poking fun at me.
Yeah.
And we just kind of take it and laugh about it. But to be honest, I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. There are a lot of really great guilds out there.
There are.
And whether it's Metachlorians or whether it's the RSG guild that Affinity's in with the Alliance, whether it's Ouchie Dumplings guild, there are a lot of really great guilds out there, right? The thing we're saying is just Dark Lords just went from being one guild or a few guilds to being huge, and we help everybody, and so it's a little easy to kind of poke fun at that right now.
Yeah.
But it's all meant in good fun.
Oh, yeah.
Dark
love
Lords
the Dark
is
Lords.
really there to help you, right? And here's the thing. We just want to help you if you're discouraged with where you're at right now. That's really what it's about, right? If you're happy where you're at, if you love your guild, freaking stay, man. But if you're, like, discouraged or frustrated, we don't want you to be discouraged or frustrated. We want to help you get to a new spot.
That's right.
That's really what it's about.
That's right. Dark Lords.
We are the Dark Lords. Resistance is futile. You'll be assimilated.
Right.
Lower your standards and surrender your guild.
Your biological and game material will be added to our essence to make us stronger.
Yeah. Okay, another way to say, hey, if you're discouraged, we'll help you, is to say it how Ranger and Grim just said it right now.
Or another way is to say resistance is futile. I'm just throwing that out there. Just don't put that out there.
We have re-energized. Here's why they're saying that. We have re-energized a lot of players that were really discouraged, right? And so part of it is when you re-energize a player who was really discouraged, and now they're super pumped about what they're doing, it does kind of look like they drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, from the outside.
That's a little bit of, guild pride and stuff coming through. I mean,
there's also the fact that you guys are growing like ridiculously large, and then every time Hideous seems to be recruiting somebody else.
I know, right?
Well, it's not recruiting, more like poaching.
Well, hey, if you're not poaching, you're not trying. So, next question.
Really funny. We're talking about how many freaking Dark Lord people we have doing the roster reviews and all of that, and all of a sudden this Hideous is like, oh look, it's another guild I can bring into the Dark Lords.
Yeah, he's probably trying to recruit this dude right now that we had today.
No, I'm sure he ain't leaving his guild. No.
Hey, rescue me. Has Hideous told you about his Dark Lord and Savior, Grande Patron?
No. Which is blasphemy because it's Revan.
Yeah, he sure has.
Oh, God, Jesus. Oh, my God. I hoped you slammed the door in his face.
I mean, here's the deal. Hideous is a perfect example, right? Hideous.
I wouldn't go that far as a perfect example.
I just mean.
Let's say example.
Hold on. He had a difficult experience in his last guild, right? And what happened was and this is to every member of RSG's credit, they knew that, Dark Lords would accept him, and we'd help get him pumped up and re-energized, right? And we'd help give him a kind of an outlet. And that's exactly what we did. And effectively, here's what Hideous wants. Hideous wants, if there's any other player out there that felt rejected or like ostracized the way he did, he just doesn't want anyone else to feel like that, right? And so that's effectively what he's doing is he's trying to run around and save everyone who he thinks might even remotely have ever felt like their self-worth was in question. That's really where Hideous is at.
Yep,
and
it really has turned into a Gondry Patron's witness, I'm telling you.
Okay, next question.
Andrew
Would you like a
Sweeney.
pamphlet?
What?
Would you like a pamphlet about our Lord and Savior Grande Patron?
He's amazing.
Andrew Sweeney, question CG forgot to just hand me C-3PO for my birthday, so
Wow.
what is the minimum gear I need and how should I mod Ewoks? I can use any Ewoks? Well, happy birthday.
Well, yeah, let's look at how I mean... No,
yeah, we need your ally code, and then are you going for the 5-star or the 7-star?
Yeah, we had...
Because you're saying C-3PO, you're just trying to get it. So if you're just going for the 5-star, I mean, higher gear works better.
Yeah.
But you can do it with like year 8 and 9 at that level. You might need reasonable mods. You don't need necessarily arena mods. And then, yeah, the best Ewoks that seem to work well are Chirpa, Wicket, Elder, Logray, and Paplu. Those are the best 5 that work. Now, the less you can replace, the better. But if you need to put in Tebow, if you need to put in Ewok Scout, all of that can work in fine into that team. But I would say just try and see what you can do, especially if you're just going for the unlock. Okay, let's start running through some of these questions really quick because we're already half an hour over.
Darth Funko, question, can I unlock 3PO without giving Chief Chirpa his Zeta? We'll get Chief Chirpa 7-star tomorrow. All my Ewoks are gear 11. Chirpa is the only one at gear 10.
He said unlock, right? Not 7-star.
It says unlock.
7-star. Well, yes, you can get them, not a problem. I got it without the Chief Chirpa Zeta. I have 0 Zetas. I had 3 of them at gear 11 and 2 of them at gear 10, and I got it just fine. It took me about 10 tries.
Yeah. So yes, you can.
Isra Flex Gaming, question, what do you guys think of this team? Old Ben lead, C-3PO, R2, Chopper, BB-8, evasion lead with lots of evasion synergy with droids for BB-8.
It can work, but...
It's not. It's nice. Where the heck's your JTR, man?
He's running just pure evasion, trying to keep Chopper being the one that keeps going. I mean,
that's sort of... it's going to be okay. The problem is evasion lead is all based on RNG, which means one time it's going to work great, and the next time you're going to get frustrated and think you suck, right? And nothing's changed except that you dodged 4 more times this time than you did the last time. Evasion lead was cool before we had mods. After we had mods, evasion lead didn't work very well. I mean, look, what's the counter? Throw accuracy arrows on a couple of characters, and all of a sudden, all your evasion just went to crap. Like B2, which inflicts evasion down.
Next question.
Thoka, question, how many porgs do Ewoks eat?
None. Next question.
Most Mike. Most Mike, question, if they have to nerf every new character shortly after release, at what point does this become a lazy and deceptive business practice?
It's just a business practice. Lazy and deceptive is just how we view it.
Right.
But it is their business practice. We know what they're going to do. It's up to us how we want to deal with it.
It's not every character. Did they nerf Juhani?
There's nothing with Juhani.
Did they nerf?
He just wanted to say Juhani.
He actually said Juhani though. He didn't say her Heine.
I know. Did they nerf Cantankerous Orto or whatever his name is?
I don't know. Did they?
Nope. Did they nerf that other dude? What's the other dude's name?
Actually, they did nerf Cantankerous Orto.
Right.
Remember?
They did?
Yeah, because he was giving off too many dots.
Oh.
But that was in only his event. It wasn't.
That's only in the
it wasn't a
event.
character thing. It was an event bug.
Yeah. That's what she said.
A Zingy question: what did y'all get in the credit heist? 4 million.
5 million.
I don't even know. I just sim it twice and move on.
By the way, Sanley, I've noticed how you are quiet on all the Dark Lords talk. Next question.
Okay.
Well, you notice how he was quiet with all the Dark Lords.
Contingent 33 question: what was the final score of the Grand Arena? The ACS banner was covering the scores.
I went by 20. 1751, 1753 to 1733.
Gav E. question: when nerf do you think the C-3PO team and Heroic Sith Triumvirate raid will be strong? Similar to Raid Jedi training and Night Scissors, they will be nerfed, but they are still solid. Or they were nerfed, but are still solid.
So they're going to nerf them, but they're still going to be solid. My best guess is we're going to end up with a nerf that looks similar to the Night Sisters nerf, which means we're going to take us away a little bit, and we're going to give us a little bit. Here would be a great example. The great example is one that we said, which is something like Finn gives 17% turn meter on exposed hits for resistance, and all other allies gain half that. Something like that would all of a sudden make it where, we got a little something and we didn't just get a bunch of stuff taken away.
Billy Gunn question is 3PO just being nerfed for Heroic Sith Triumvirate Raid or in Arena 2?
Depends on how they decide to nerf it.
Yeah, it depends. If they change Traya, then it's just for that one raid. If they change the kit, then it's everywhere.
And if they potentially change one of the characters on the team. So if they change Finn, then that's a whole different thing. So.
Yep.
Thane, you donated and asked if we could. Sanely is not skipping them, but you asked. You said, can we skip it? So, just saying. And then he also donated $4 and said, Grande, let's see if Dark Lords is able to re-energize and get Grim excited for the game if that's your specialty.
Oh, man.
Darth Telewhack Minacker question: is there anyone on the RSG crew that doesn't have a 7-star C-3PO?
I got mine on the stream the other day, so I'm good.
I got mine.
Yeah.
I got mine.
So we're good.
Anybody not have it?
Right.
Okay.
Next question.
Mitchell Cronin question: is CLS, Han, Chewie, R2, and C-3PO the best CLS team to beat Trio, Dooku, Sith, SIT? What is that?
Sith Trooper.
Yeah.
Because ST people say Shore Trooper, so they put the SIT.
And that was the last question.
My God, we got through it. We got through it, everyone.
Did we answer that question?
I don't know. Did we?
I don't think we answered the question. Can you repeat the question? Let's make sure we answered it. I feel like we didn't answer it.
Repeated the question. It was shit.
I found it. So is CLS, Han, Chewie, R2, and C-3PO the best CLS team to beat the Triumvirate, Dooku, and Sith Trooper? Interesting.
That team's going to work on offense, but it's not going to hold for crap on defense.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because you have no heal and you have no tank. I mean, you have no... And so the problem is it's not going to hold very well, right? So the challenge is, what do you need to do to make that team hold? To make that team hold, you're going to need a tank and potentially a healer, which means you're back to... You got to put old Ben on the team, right? At least.
The other one I've seen too is CLS, Han, Chewie, C-3PO, and Thrawn. I've seen people on my shard starting to use that on offense in order to beat Traya and whatnot. Because Fracture is just an ability that just works no matter what. Thrawn is kind of crazy like that. But yeah, I think it'll work on offense, but you'll have to see if you want to leave it on defense, because that team really does make a lot of your team vulnerable to stuff. And if you don't set up your guards correctly, which is pretty easy because R2 and C-3PO are tanky, you want to make sure that the guard ends up on CLS and not the other character. So
did you see Thane Kyrell's other donation?
Yeah, that's the one I read about with Grimm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's everything.
All right. You want to talk about the ACS stuff there, Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman?
Sure. So if you guys go to the link in the description, you will be able to see the links to the Tiltify page. We're still running the campaign all the way up until the run, and we're still going for our goal of 15,000. We're adding some stuff now and then onto the Tiltify, so make sure that you guys do check that out. Some of the things that we have now that you guys can still donate to, we have the challenges for me to wear a wig, Grande to wear the CG Carry shirt. We also had the poll for McVenom to change her name in game to Tis McVoltron, and there is the potential that the name won't be able to be changed back. So that's definitely there. On tomorrow's stream, we're going to try for Ouchie. Ouchie did get her challenge filled for her to unlock Dooku, so we're going to see if we can get her to do that on the stream tomorrow. We also have Nukin's mic giveaway. So once we get that challenge filled, anyone who donated to that challenge has the chance to win either a Blue Yeti mic, a Blue Nano mic, or the Lola headphone mic. So if you guys want a chance at that, go there now and to donate. The other thing is at 15,000, when we hit that milestone, we're going to be giving away raffle tickets. We're going to be basically raffling off the lightsaber. And every dollar donated through Tiltify counts as a raffle ticket. But we have a new reward, which actually gives you some additional potential benefits. So we have the 25% extra raffle tickets for the 15K lightsaber. So if you donate $4 to that reward, you will actually get 5 tickets instead of 4. So go ahead, and if you guys really want that lightsaber, you guys can donate to that and get extra raffle tickets towards the lightsaber, which we will raffle off to everyone that donated. And each dollar counts as 1 token, except if you got that reward, and you will get a 25% bonus for those $4 that you donate or whatever you donate to that reward. We still have the wristbands. We still have McVenom's fun voice recording if you guys want that, and some PC games that were donated by Sanely Red. So please make sure you check out the Tiltify and donate for a good cause.
All right. And if you're watching this, as me, you're here with us on the lunch stream. We do this every Monday through Friday from 12 to whenever we get done Eastern. Remember, tomorrow we have our big show going on. We have a lot going on this week. But it's getting near the holidays, so we'll be a little bit crazy with the schedule and stuff, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, please stop what you're doing. Hit the thumbs up with the video. It helps get our content out there to the YouTube world. If you haven't already, become a subscriber so that way you know when we're doing our live streams. And also, if you haven't checked out our Patreon page, please do. We appreciate our Patreon sponsors. It helps keeps us going, helps us keep getting the content out that you guys enjoy and love. So that being said, thanks for stopping by today, guys. We really appreciate all the support. Have a great rest of your day. Come join us in our Discord whenever you see us in there. And with that, we will holler at you later. So on behalf of myself and the crew, thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll holler at you later.